So, I just want to know who out there has been through a breakup and now you're in your hot era. Oh, yeah! I see all you guys. Okay, last year we all went through breakups in this group somehow or way or another, which was crazy. In the span of 4 days. In the span of 4 days. It was crying. Oh my God, we had to sleep over in the living room for like a week straight. But yeah, we really needed to write a song that got us back into the streets, back to shaking some ass with your girls and your friends. So we wrote Me, My Girls, and I, and that's the next song. Yeah.
Good night.
That's fine. I'm not about to keep barking at a bitch who ain't about to do that. Anyway, just mad because you was a stripper that thought you was gonna get wifed and didn't, psych.
That's fine. I'll be a stripper because I make way more money than you, bitch. Buy your life. Good night.
You trying to get down or you just trying to run your mouth?
You the one that came in here.
You trying to get down or you just trying to run your mouth?
If you got a problem, then what's up?
You trying to get down or you just trying to run your mouth? Oh, you just trying to run your mouth.
This is the group roundup video I've been wanting to do for a long time. I want to talk about the mess on everything that's happened to my fave groups this year, but I also want to talk a little bit about the outlook of American groups for 2025, kind of adding more to the last group video I did about Boys World. But yeah, for the most part, I'm discussing the mess, and I'd forgotten how messy following groups can be. From the infighting, people getting kicked out, to disbandments. This year has been a wild ride, but even though I'm spilling the tea on why some of these groups drive me crazy, pop groups still have my heart. Per Microsoft AI's Copilot, whatever you call that thing, the average lifespan of a pop group is 3 to 5 years. Or, depending on what you ask it, it also says 5 to 10 years, but we'll stick with 3 to 5. Per Copilot, this period includes their rise to fame, peak popularity, and eventual decline or disbandment. Okay, so that information feels pretty accurate. You know, with these AI prompts, you never really know where you're gonna get. But from my experience, this is pretty accurate. Most of the groups throughout my life lasted a few years, only putting out 1 to 2, maybe 3 albums, and they often fell apart during their peak. But I'm not sure how often lineup changes happen. However, it seems to be part of the deal in this field. It's usually a sign of disbandment, in my opinion, but hopefully for this trio, it's a new beginning. Yep, I am talking about Citizen Queen. Citizen Queen is an all-female vocal group known for their stunning harmonies in their a cappella performances. Recently, the group has been relatively quiet, with only releasing one single, Love the Way I Love You, this year. This single came out shortly after it was announced that one of their members, Kayla, would be leaving the group. This mirrors what happened previously when their first member, Hannah, departed. The group released XO, but when Hannah left, they were a quintet and then they went down to a foursome, and the group made sure to release a flurry of singles to keep up the momentum. And I thought with this member exiting, it'd be the same, but this time around, it was pretty much crickets. The group's semi-hiatus can be attributed to a few factors. For one, Cora, a third of the group, has been recovering from a car accident, and another member, Nina, has been busy performing overseas in the burlesque musical in the UK on the West End. Now, mind you, Kayla leaving made the group a trio. So with 2/3 of the group being preoccupied, there was little time for group activities. I was hoping this period was a time for the trio to regroup and come back stronger in the new year. This would be a great time for a rebrand, which I think they're already kind of doing, but who knows. However, with Kayla gone, I'm concerned about how their blend will sound. She was part of what made their 4-part harmonies so special.
So I'll write another song about you, that's forever like a lyric tattoo. Time after time, stuck on my mind. Every word that you say, put that shit on replay.
It was beautiful.
And I'm also worried about the future dynamic of the group. Kayla's presence brought a certain edge to the group that can't be replicated. Additionally, having 2 black women in the group was a huge selling point for me. It's a rarity to have 2 chocolate girls in a pop group. So needless to say, Kayla will be severely missed. Coincidentally enough, Citizen Queen and No Guidance are in a similar boat. No Guidance is a UK R&B boy group known for their anguish, cathartic love songs. Recently, they've replaced one of their members, Ebube, with a new member named Ishan, which I don't like. Ebube, just like Kayla, was a huge reason why I like No Guidance. I'll especially miss Ebube's deep, rich voice in the harmonies. It added much needed believability to their love songs. He was the only one sounding like a man.
But I was caught up in physical attraction, but to my satisfaction, baby, you are more than just a friend.
Since Ebube's departure, the group sound has shifted to a brighter and more pop-leaning style. This new direction seems to target a young audience, aligning more with the pop boy bands like NSYNC rather than R&B groups like Boyz II Men. Their looks give Boy Next Door. Their physiques are youthful looking, kind of waif-like, not too muscular. Y'all get it. This change in style and sound makes me think that the group is taking their music less seriously, like it's more fun. Interestingly enough, this new direction reminds me of an interview with Rolling Stone UK. The members discussed whether they preferred being called a boy band or a boy group. Most of the members, except for Ebube, preferred boy band, which in my opinion reflected their current pop-oriented R&B direction that we're seeing right now. And Ebube's silence during this part of the interview hinted, well, to me, it's all my opinion. To me, it hinted at his disconnect with this new image that they have going on right now. Plus, it made me think, why was he initially brought into the group if his style didn't align with their ultimate goals?
This guy was like, from my area, I could tell. Casey was wearing a blue fluffy jumper. I thought he hated me because he said if I don't follow you on Instagram back, that means you're trash. It was a joke though. So it was to make me nervous. I was like, what the hell is this guy on? I've known him for 5 minutes, but yeah.
And now we're best friends.
Yeah, maybe Casey really thought he was trash. Maybe all this is hindsight 2020 is crazy. However, I'm blaming this whole mess on their team. The boys are under lateral management, and when looking at their other clients, I discovered they also managed Really, or Real Like You, was a UK pop girl group that constantly experienced instability throughout their career. The quintet went through 3 lineup changes before releasing their first EP. Then they disbanded just a few months after their EP's release, where there was no official announcement about their disbandment, leaving fans in the dark. Like, who does that? Okay, so randomly enough, I know another group that's just as messy. The R&B group Imagine recently replaced one of their members, Havina, with a new member named Aaliyah. This change was made without any formal announcement from the group, and the thing is, this group is a trio. So when a member is replaced, it's super obvious, and when you don't address it, you're insulting the fans, thinking they're too stupid to notice the difference, in my opinion. I find it really insulting. To be fair, Imagine is still an unknown group, so maybe that's why they thought they could get away with it without too much of a backlash, swapping members that you don't really know about. What's the harm? I guess that's the thinking. Who knows? The member who left though, Havina, addressed her departure during an Instagram live.
I'm not in the group. If I offended anybody the other day on my live, sorry to ya.
And has seemingly been subbing her old group on Twitter, which has only added to the drama. It got me thinking, how does all this mess happen to a brand new group? The answer is a horrible foundation. Young Blue, the guy who made this group, really did a horrible job.
So, he's a great mentor, great CEO. Look at him.
Yeah, I beg to differ. I think this group was put together at the last minute, or at least maybe Havina was shoved in at the last minute, because I found out she was a full-on soloist right before Imagine popped up on the scene. She'd even released an LP this past August, then 2 months later she debuted as a member of the group in October. But I'm calling it now, this group is doomed to fail. Especially seeing all these red flags, like you can tell that there's a lot of favoritism to the lead singer, Jayla. So congrats, Really, you aren't the messiest group out here. But speaking of Really, the only reason why I know about Really's disbandment was because a commenter under my community post mentioned they sent out a message on their fans' WhatsApp, and said commenter led me to an entertainment write-up where the article confirmed Really's breakup. Fun fact, I have to plug this in, Nina Nelson from Citizen Queen and Jessie Foley from Really were in the same musical, Burlesque, on the West End. Todrick Hall is also part of the cast as well, but it doesn't stop there. Nina has also familiarized herself with No Guidance, and they've gotten chummy.
Celeb bestie, he's my celeb bestie.
Nina's a good one. This is Nina from Citizen's Queen.
Hello?
Yeah.
So chummy that when Katie, visited Nina in the UK a few months back, we saw the girls linking up with the quartet. So let me just circle all the way back to No Guidance. It's interesting that around the time of Ubube's exit, the boys were having issues with their label, NWS Music Group. I'm not too sure what it stands for. They split from them January of this year, being fully independent. Then Abube gets dropped soon after, or it's announced in the summer. Reading Abube's statement, after 3 amazing years with No Guidance, I will not be continuing as part of the group. I know this isn't the kind of news you guys want to hear from me at all. Neither did I, as our key visions for the group no longer aligned, and after lots of discussion with the boys in management, a decision was made in the group's interest that I should leave, placing most of the blame on management, for sure. It's clear Abube didn't want to leave and was kicked out. Regarding the boys, I don't know how to feel about them. They played a role, but to which degree, I don't know.
What's going on?
Yeah, wouldn't we all like to know? Moving on, the last part of Abube's announcement really made me feel sorry for the guy. Quote, the ending doesn't change the fact that I am so thankful that I experienced this journey with the group, and I won't stop supporting the guys from the sidelines, hoping to see them reach the level we all dreamed of. Damn, supporting them from the sidelines? Well, that's certainly heartfelt, unlike the group's response, which was cold and to the point. FYI, the group's statement was deleted off their IG, so you could tell they didn't want their new fans learning of their messy split with Abube, but I still think it's up on their Facebook, as of right now. But wait, there's more. Abube released some original music, one of which is called New Chapter, and from the lyrics, I think he's alluding to being kicked out of the group. So here's the lyrics. We're headed different directions. I'm sending you all my blessings. Thank you for the lessons. New chapter, hello. Goodbye to the old. Welcome to my new life. Stepping in my new light. You'll see it in due time. If I had known, I would have left a long time ago. But everybody knows what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. New chapter, hello. Come with me. It's time to see you. It's time for you. New time, new time, new time. Yeah. Interesting. The line where he mentioned, if I'd had known, I would have left a long time ago, hit me hard. It was clear from the beginning the group and Abube didn't have the same vision. Hence the Rolling Stone article. It just leaves a bad taste in my mouth. Plus, on top of that, seeing how Abube's replacement is a non-black exotical, no tea, no shade, makes it a little worse. He's handsome, but Ishan's phenotype should be noted because this is a group participating in a black genre, and you think they'd conserve as many black members as they could?
Because it's making sense. Us, you know what I'm saying? I'm from around the way.
Yep, it's making too much sense. And again, no disrespect to Ishan, but this whole thing is giving me Aunt Viv from The Fresh Prince and Claire vibes from My Wife and Kids, switching out black characters with racially ambiguous ones. As a matter of fact, now that I'm thinking about it, Imagine kind of did the same thing with swapping out Havina for Aaliyah. Anyways, I'm just a little dissatisfied with No Guidance's lineup. I was so supportive of the group at the beginning. I even bought all 3 of their EPs. Now I don't know how to feel about them. At present, they're still dropping music and still being active, so who knows where No Guidance will end up. Speaking of endings, I have to talk about Boys World. Boys World was, yes, you guessed it, yet another pop girl group known for their choreo and unique aesthetics. The group announced their disbandment this past summer and their fans were gutted. Amidst this, there have been rumors of estrangement between one of the members, Makaili, and the rest of the group.
Really? What? We did?
Which I can understand. I've seen a lot of lives where Makaili is quiet or constantly out of frame, basically not engaging as much as the other girls, so yeah, I believe it. Shout out to the Boys World subreddit. Fans have pointed out that member Queenie May has unfollowed Makaili, and interactions between Makaili and another member, Ilana, who were once close, have become non-existent. This goes for all the members towards Makaili too. Even though these girls live in the same area, we rarely see Makaili interact with the rest of the girls. Birthday posts have gone unacknowledged. We've seen loads of OT4 link-ups since Makaili. So yeah, I know there's something going on there. Or that's just what I think. You know, I don't really know what's going on, it's just my opinion. When the group dissolved, fans speculated Makaili's ambitions created tensions within the group. Despite disbandment being out of the quintet's control, you could tell Mac was ready to go solo. Fans even pointed out that Makaili seemed to be the least affected one in the disbandment video and has been heavily promoting her solo career on social media. And maybe seeing this was off-putting to the rest of the members because, in contrast, the other girls seemed gutted to end the group. Maybe the girls weren't that close to Mac in the first place. Maybe something else happened between the girls that prompted Mac to run for the hills. I mean, if you look at how Makaili is moving, she rarely acknowledges her past being in the group or bringing up the members at all. There's also theories that Makaili's relationship was a problem. Her boyfriend wasn't as involved in group activities as the other members' significant others were. People think it's because the girls didn't like him much, so maybe he was the reason for the friction. I mean, fans speculate that one of their singles, Gone Girl, a song about allowing the time and the space for a friend in a toxic relationship to find their way back to you, is about Kylie.
I wrote him yesterday. He won't even write me back.
Well, who cares? Don't write him anymore.
I'm calling him.
No.
I know. Well, no, we have some tea, but we just can't talk about it.
Shoot, maybe they can't talk about what's going on. Maybe they can't. Maybe it is illegal. Maybe they signed NDAs, I'm not too sure. And if I'm not mistaken, Alana and Mac were promoted as its co-writers. And remember, they were the closest in the group at one point. So it's really interesting. What's also interesting is that Kylie's boyfriend is a producer. He mostly does rap music, which is a coincidence since Mac happens to be a rapper and a singer. So it makes me wonder, could it be possible he was whispering in her ear to go solo and this is where all the tension came from? Who knows? It could be loads of reasons, but I'm hoping it has nothing to do with anti-blackness. You know, the black girl curse is a real thing in these pop groups.
Wait a minute. This ain't right. We're having fun and our girl Penny isn't here. A moment of silence, please. Here's to our homegirl, Penny Proud, who ain't here. Hey.
Yep, pour one out for all my black pop girl members. As for disbandment, I do believe the Boys World members knew about it for a while before the announcement. I'm thinking that it was right after their stint on the Chinese show because their activities afterwards seemed like a farewell campaign of some sort. In my Boys World bad marketing video, I stated a wish list of things I wanted to see from the girls that was being executed during the Caught in Your Love era, what I thought was a sign of better marketing and group longevity. Now in hindsight, seems like fan service, something to soften the blow from the bad news that came. But when a door closes, another one opens. Kylie has mentioned in her Q&A video that she's prepping for new music and has been in important meetings. Along with that, she's posted this IG pic standing outside the Interscope Geffen label office, so we might be getting a breakout solo act from Boys World. And from the same record company that brought us another group, Katseye. This sextet is an experiment between Korean company Hybe and US label Interscope Records, Interscope Geffen Records. They're basically a K-pop group, but most of the members aren't Korean. They instead all hail from different parts of the world and they sing in English. They're K-pop's answer to a global girl group. Like over here in America, we've been had, I guess you could say, global groups because our entertainment and our music industry exports like really big pop groups and pop artists all over the world. So we've been kind of doing it for a long while over here. This is the Korean version of that. So when people are like, they're not K-pop, they're global. No, they're K-pop. They're a K-pop group. But this time they're headed for the global market, just like what America's been doing for like centuries. So that's where they are, to stop the confusion. Anyways, Katseye has been on a new level this year, dropping their EP, doing tours and slowly garnering mainstream buzz. But they aren't the only ones. An old member, Adela, is also getting buzz. I consider Adela an ex-group member since she's trained with the sextet for like half of their development. Of course, she didn't make it into the final lineup, the consensus being that she'd make it better as a soloist than a group member.
I'm not a K-pop idol.
Oh. And I couldn't agree more. Adela has started her music career. So far, she's dropped bangers like Homewrecked and Superstar. Superstar is my favorite of the two. Ever since the music video dropped, I really understood the song. It's basically about how Katseye's training and development destroyed her soul, creating deep super scars. Now that I think about it, I actually might do a mini review on Adela's EP whenever it drops. Adela to me is one of those pop stars who has an interesting backstory along with great talent, and it just sucks me right in. I also find her playing the mean girl to Katseye very appealing. I mean, the way she's been able to fuel the online hate from the group stands to her advantage is satisfying to see.
Guys, can we also talk about the fact that people are going absolutely feral in the comments of my last video because I rage baited them?
Yes!
And it worked!
Not to mention, I love how she's using Katseye's promotion to her advantage too, because for some reason, people aren't calling out how the machine behind Katseye were exploiting then teen girls, Adela included, for their gain. I mean, there's some people who speak out about it, but I don't think it's enough. I think people are sensationalizing it and then buying into the bullshit. It's a whole thing. If you don't know, the Hybe and Interscope Geffen created a reality show called Dream Academy where the girls competed to make Katseye. This was followed by a Netflix docuseries called Popstar Academy, showcasing the intense Korean training system that formed the group's final lineup. The docuseries revealed the stressful and critical environment the groups face, leading to controversy. Fans have criticized current members Sophia, Lara, and former member Adela for their mean girl, quote-unquote, mean girl behavior towards Mano, another current Katseye member during the training, even though their actions were influenced by the adults around them who promoted toxic behavior for ratings. I know, in 2024, people are pulling the making the band thing. And do you really want to align yourself with a show associated with Diddy? Who wants to pull a Diddy?
What the heck?
Y'all got it.
Come on now. Red flags. Anyways, listen, I like Mano. Jesus, I don't even know how to say it. I like Mano, whatever, as much as the next person. We both have West African parentage. I'm rooting for her to have equal opportunities and protections since she is the token black adjacent girl in the group.
Thanks for the support.
Yes, thanks.
Thanks a lot, Rachel.
Wait, grateful for the opportunity.
Exactly.
But I'm not up in arms over Adela's attitudes towards her while they were trainees. What I saw was a young girl being immature. Maybe editing made it worse than what it was, I don't know. Besides, if Mano is over it, Mano, oh my god. If Mano is over it, so am I. As I digress, I basically find the lore of Adela interesting. The stepchild of Popstar Academy is actually becoming a major pop star. It's very thrilling. It'd be even more interesting if we see her get picked up by a major label and she competes with her old group on a level playing field. As a matter of fact, I'm surprised another label hasn't picked up the old contestants of Dream Academy to make a new group or soloist, like how the Mickey Mouse Club spawned the biggest Y2K acts. Maybe the trainees sign contracts that prohibits it, but I'd love for Katseye to have a BSB NSYNC rivalry moment. That mess would be too good to pass up. Maybe VCHA would be their NSYNC to their BSB, because they're set to make an official debut next year. Okay, so update on VCHA. If you don't know, VCHA is another variant of a K-pop group, basically the same makeup as Katseye. Anyways, one of its members has filed a lawsuit against JYP America for breaking child labor laws. The suit has lots of disturbing accusations in it, and I'm praying that the members go back home to their families. At this point, I don't think VCHA should even exist anymore. The whole ordeal has made me think about how common allegations of mistreatment and exploitations are with groups, and it's made me wonder about the ways that we can consume and engage with groups in an ethical way. It's certainly very difficult, but I think as fans we should put in the effort. For me, once I figure out how to do that or make some type of headway, I'll let y'all know, but for right now I'm just like at odds. Like I'm really confused as to what to do. Okay, but speaking of mistreatment, y'all notice how Katseye is being worked to the bone? I know. I'm not the only one who's noticed how frequently these girls are getting ill. Megan's back injury prohibited her from participating in the Asian tour engagements. Mano was sick during the group's first award show performance at the Mamas. Like, I don't know if their team is prioritizing their health as much as they should, because this upcoming year, Katseye's promotions are going to be ramped up to a new level, and I hope they're built for it. But it's not just Katseye. The other global K-pop groups HYBE is developing will be getting a big push next year. One in Latin America by way of a reality show, and 2 groups stateside. Another girl group and boy group that is set to debut, and randomly enough, Don Toliver is affiliated with the whole thing. Y'all, soon enough, the competition is going to be fierce.
Wait, what?
Because along with those K-pop groups, there's going to be another K-pop group debuting in the UK by way of SM Entertainment called Dear Alice, their boy group. And then there's going to be another, and well, you know, VCHA still might be debuting despite all the allegations. I don't know. Experts believe that 2025 will be the year to determine if HYBE's global efforts will pay off, because right now HYBE has a lot of issues maintaining the multi-label system. Launching all these new groups for next year might be too much of an investment right now, although BTS is set to make a comeback too, so maybe that'll help them out. And Chairman Bang, HYBE's founder, is very determined to launch these groups, but only time will tell if they'll be successful. On another note, some Western groups are also set to make comebacks in 2025. Siren has teased dropping new music. Flow is ramping up promotional efforts on their new album, AAA. Chloe and Halle might finally make a comeback after 4 years of solo activity. Actually, make that 5. 5 years of solo activity. Finally, I just want to mention June's Diary. I don't know if they're making a comeback, but throughout this year, they've made it a point to let people know that they're still around and they're still a quintet and still doing their black jobs. Before I go, I wanted to mention some trends I've noticed in the group music space, and I want to predict what the scene will look like in the future. Okay, so with the demise of Boys World and Really, and the lineup changes of Citizen Queen and No Guidance, it got me thinking that pop groups are coming to an end, since these were the most popular groups out and they're having difficulties surviving. But then I reanalyzed the whole situation, and I realized pop groups are not fading away, they're evolving in ways I've never expected. As I mentioned before, I wanted to add more to the conversation on the current state of American groups since my last group video. In that video, I mentioned the future of American groups will be more performance-based. I also mentioned in my last video that groups will work better away from the stereotypical tween branding. Honestly, I'm starting to think that the Y2K bubblegum manufactured pop group model is phased out for more down-to-earth concepts with more raw and intimate marketing. And one of the things I mentioned was the importance of genre. I think that genre of music is important to a group's longevity. For example, in preparation for this video, I spent a couple of weeks trying to find new groups. I was trying to widen my scope on the music scene because I didn't want to believe that everything that's happened to Citizen Queen and Boys World was indicative of the whole group genre, and my findings proved that. I discovered like 5 groups that were thriving who'd either just released a debut album, had done tours. These artists had around 400 to 1 mil Spotify listeners and were all signed to independent labels or have some type of industry backing behind them. All of that gave me hope for the future of group music. The new acts I found all dabbled in either folk, country, or rock, which was unexpected. There was also a lot of family groups. That wasn't surprising. I predict that with labels wanting to cut costs on training and developing groups, they'll pick up acts that's already developed, and family groups are perfect for that. Plus, those harmonies are gonna hit. It's in their genes. I've also noticed that there's been groups who formed in music colleges, so that could also be commonplace too, like picking up groups that have come from music programs, from universities, all that stuff. The training development is already there. It's also interesting how these groups were formed and then the label comes knocking. The labels themselves aren't putting the groups together. Like, they're already formed and then they're getting picked up by the label. I'm thinking that's going to be common practice too. Like, we're going to see a lot more of that. I have to mention that even though it was a relief finding new groups, it was undercutted when I noticed that most of them were white. Since most are family groups and they operate in mostly white spaces, it wasn't shocking. But yeah, I kept thinking, where are the black groups? Where's the diversity? The only new black groups I came across were the ones that went viral a few months back, and those acts are very brand new. Like, they just dropped their first songs, and the groups I mentioned before have been out for a few years, so maybe it's not an equal comparison. To be fair though, there could be loads of black groups out there. It just takes time to discover them. Nonetheless, I'll keep searching. Anyways, from my recent findings, it seems like groups are thriving in folk pop and country genres as opposed to the super competitive mainstream spaces of pop. I mean, even Michelle, Infinity Song, The Boykins, and Tiny Habits, these diverse groups are thriving in these spaces, and all ensembles are working in genres of either folk, country, or rock and have proper backing. And I'm sure that's a huge factor to their success too. They have proper management and label support, which makes me think now more than ever, the genre of a group could make or break them. Not to say that pop isn't a viable avenue, but it's super competitive. So people need to keep that in mind. Maybe groups need to think of a gateway genre to break into the pop space, not attack it head on. Okay, so enough of that. I also wanted to point out that this past summer, with all the disbandment and lineup changes happening, I learned it's not the end of the world. It's not as big deal. It's not as big as a red flag as I thought it was. Like I said, on average, groups last around 3 to 5 years, and even while they were on major labels. As a matter of fact, a lot of them disbanded after their first album, if they got to even make one. There's been loads of groups operating as one-hit wonders. It's rare for groups to go past 5 years. Right now, the only difference is, since a lot of groups are difficult to find, when one moderately popular group disbands, it feels like the end of the world. Like, I can't explain how hard it was to discover the groups that I did. Wikipedia was my friend, and it helped me out a lot. Don't forget to donate, by the way. Lastly, I want to mention the Billboard article that was so dramatic about groups disappearing from the Hot 100. It's not that serious. I think that article, plus all the disbandment news that was happening at the same time, made me freak out. What I've come to learn is that even though groups haven't been present on the Hot 100, they've been making waves on the airplay charts, pop airplay and R&B airplay to be specific. Well, that's all I have to say. Hope you had your fill of the mess, the tea, the drama. Keep in mind, groups are thriving in their own way. They're less bubblegum pop and more folk. There's more families on the scene. They're charting still, and groups don't usually last long, so it is what it is. As always, thanks for watching. Please comment, like, subscribe. Thanks for listening, all that good stuff. Bye.